selling through the clients. When you are asked a question, what this means is very, very, very simple. When you are explaining something or overcoming an objection, you are not going to give an answer from you. You are going to give an answer from a client. Let me repeat that. When somebody asks you a question, client asks you a question, hey, how are you different than HomeAdvisor? How does your pricing work? Why do you guys do flat fee? Or when you are doing your screencast or you're overcoming an objection you know is going to come up, instead of answering it just blah, you're going to take a little bit more time and you're going to answer that question by using a client's answer to answer that question. Okay, now that might be sound a little bit confusing.
Yeah, I'm confused too. We're confused.
It's really, really simple. Okay, let me give you an example. Client asks you, you jump on the phone, you're doing your prospecting, you're hooking the business owner like we talk about. You call them, they're interested, you go through the script and you're kind of at the end and they're one of those people that starts asking questions, right? They keep asking questions and you're trying to like avoid it, but they keep asking, okay? So business owner, for example, they would say something like, so tell me real quick before we end this, like, how are you different than HomeAdvisor? Most of us would start rambling on. Well, we don't do shared leads. Number one, sir, we work exclusively with one company. Whatever the reasons are that you give of saying you're different than HomeAdvisor, once you respond, they expect you to have a certain response. Like they know you've been asked. So when you say it is what it is. But here's what you're gonna do is instead of answering, you're gonna use a client. So for example, this is how you're gonna answer. Instead of saying, well, we don't do exclusive leads, you could say, well, and this is kind of the response I like to give is if somebody says something like that, they say, hey, what's the difference between you and HomeAdvisor? And I'd say something like, well, basically the only thing that's the same is we work with contractors. No, but for real. And then this is what I would say. I'd say, no, but for real, like we have a guy, his name is Joe. He's our duct cleaning client in Chicago. You can look up his site, it's Chicago Duct Cleaning. And his biggest thing, because he was actually working just like you with HomeAdvisor for like 3 years. His biggest thing, and we just talking last week, is keeps saying over and over, is like, dude, just the fact that I don't have to worry about competing with 4 other companies in town and I have the lead exclusively to myself has made all the difference in the world. So just so you know, we work with one company exclusively and we don't share the leads.
Now it all makes sense, everything.
Guys, you use it like that, it takes a little bit more effort of thinking and it gets easier, but you use that and now it's not me saying it's Joe. It's Joe Duct Cleaner in Chicago. Not only does it hold way more weight, but it also builds authority and it removes the objection of trust. Because now you're not just some random schmo that's in his mom's basement. Now you're a human being that has other clients. You're a human being that has other clients in Chicago. You're a human being that has other clients in duct cleaning, which is the same industry as this guy. So just doing that simple thing, you are removing the huge objection of trust. You guys want to know how I was able to land a deal with a $100 million company with no agency website? But Nick, it would take you 2 seconds and a couple hours to build a website. Yeah, but I'm prideful. I don't want to build a website. I want to prove to myself that I can land bigger and bigger deals. I want to see how big I can get my agency without having a website. Like literally, it's the equivalent of going to a mechanic that doesn't have a car that works. It would be a mechanic driving his damn bike to work to fix your car. I want to see just how far I can take this, just how big I can do this without having a website. And so literally by using this strategy, what I was able to do is this $100 million company, they were in my sites and I knew who their competitor was. And so this was kind of a longer play, but I knew who their competitor was, and I happened to be working with one of their competitors in another niche because it was another huge company. And I knew that they knew each other because I knew they were competing. And so when I delivered the initial email, this is how I even got a response, is I name dropped the competitor. But you bet your ass when I was doing the Zoom call, when we were going through it, all I was doing was referencing one company, and that was their competitor. And I kept saying, yeah, the reason why so-and-so jumped on board with me is because they're tired as hell of working with HomeAdvisor. Like guys, I beat the hell out of it. I kept using it over and over and over and over. And with that specific person, I knew their hot button. I knew how bad they wanted to beat this person. So I kept using it over and over and over. And they not only did they compete, but they respected that company. And when it got to the end, what was ironic, they literally swallowed their pride and we were doing all the contract. Like the ironic part is the contract I've dropped in the group for free 3 is the same contract that I used with a $100 million company. However, they added 1 or 2 little micro things because they had an attorney. But what was ironic is the only thing that they said that I thought was funny is at the end they said, hey, what does so-and-so company, like, what did you guys discuss about this aspect? And I think it was like how we define a lead. So I know without question, the reason I was able to get them to jump was because I was leveraging this company over here.